Thank you, Aryeh Neier, for being with us to discuss the impact of the genocide trial that is currently ongoing in Guatemala. In a recent article in Reckoning with Genocide that appeared in the New York Review of Books, you concluded the article by saying, quote, though it may not be appropriate to suggest a hierarchy of human rights abuses, a consensus has developed internationally that genocide, the intent to eliminate entire groups, is the greatest of all crimes. With the trial nearing a close, what do you think the significance of this taking place in Guatemala is?
Well, Guatemala is the one country in Latin America in the period since the word genocide was coined during World War II, where it would be appropriate to use the term genocide to describe the human rights abuses that took place. It seems clear that members of indigenous groups in Guatemala were targeted on the basis of their ethnic identity. Their ethnic identity made them the internal enemies of the state, and the suffering that was inflicted upon them was based on their identity. And having that brought to trial in Guatemala is an extraordinary development, and I think one that has immense significance for human rights globally.
And do you think that this global significance will be influencing the possibility of other trials that take place within the country of origin for the crimes committed, such as genocide?
Yes, I do think so. First, one should recognize that there have been quite a lot of trials of heads of government or heads of state for human rights abuses in recent years. Nothing like this ever happened previously, but we've had such trials in a number of Latin American countries, in many African countries, in some Asian countries, in countries of the former Soviet Union. But genocide is this quite extraordinary crime. And I think there are some other cases where it would be appropriate to bring a prosecution for genocide. And I think it's clear that what happens in one country is a matter of concern every place else. Others become aware of it. And I think there tends to be a greater readiness to do this if it has been done successfully in one country.
Uh, in terms of the impact in Guatemala itself, what do you expect that could be going forward of the fact that the trial actually took place within the country?
Well, there have been a handful of successful prosecutions for human rights abuses in Guatemala. But overall, I think Guatemalans probably believe that those who are responsible for the terrible crimes of the 1970s and the first half of the 1980s have enjoyed impunity. And I think the trial of Rios Montt is of such immense symbolic significance that by itself, I think it will help to reverse that impression of impunity. And I think by itself, that is a great advance for the rule of law in Guatemala.
One final question. Is there an advantage to doing it domestically versus doing it internationally?
Yes, I think there is a great advantage to doing it domestically instead of internationally. You know, when creating the International Criminal Court, the governments that agreed on the treaty for the court made clear their preference that these things should be done domestically, and only gave the International Criminal Court jurisdiction in cases where the government either would not exercise that responsibility domestically or proved itself incapable of exercising that responsibility domestically. It's one thing to have the rule of law imposed externally. It's quite another thing to have the rule of law from within, having the country itself adhere to the precepts of law. And for Guatemala to adhere to those precepts is a great advance for Guatemala. The bravery and the integrity of the prosecutors and the judges in these cases has to be inspiring to a great many people in Guatemala. So I think this is a very welcome development for the entire history of the country.
Thank you very much, Aryeh Neier.
Thank you.